Hi there, woodworking friends. I've had a few requests to go over some details about my flip cart that houses my chop saw and planer. So I figured I'd shoot a little video to show a bit more of the detail of that. As you can see, this is made out of pretty decent cabinet grade plywood from either the blue or the orange big box store. I don't remember which it came from, but it was the plywood I had. There's obviously some walnut on there because, you know, why not? I had it. There's a little bit, some scrap from some other projects, so adds a nice little flair to it. But pretty much that's all 3/4 ply. The wings are made out of half-inch ply because that's what I had for that. The notable difference from some of the other flip carts you'd see, like Drew Fisher's and others that are inspired by that, is the lack of kind of a retaining stop on the frame itself. Mine just has a box that would fully rotate all the way around. That I think mainly I did because I just wanted the wings to line up, and I honestly don't remember why it was. It might have been something about my planer or the chop saw or something. I honestly don't remember. I do like that design, but this is the one I went with. So the box itself, the mount that the tools are mounted on, is just a basic torsion box, I guess is what it would be. There's nothing really fancy about that. You can see that there's the holes in the front that mate with the blocks that are in the door to actually keep it in place. That is in place of the design where the top of the box is hinged up top, and then it hits a hard stop, and then there's a clamp or a clip, a latch on the side. So let's flip it over and we'll take a look. First, you can see the bolts that hold the chop saw down. You can see where it's been shimmed up to match the height of the height of the cutting surface there, or the plate there, the base with the top of the wings. The one thing about this too that is a little different, because it doesn't have that hard stop on the sides and the box could rotate all the way around, is the wire could get twisted beyond what it should. But basically my rule is I always rotate it with the planer out front. So the planer goes down the front or the planer goes up on the front, and then I'm never over rotating it. So again, here we can see the face of the box. This is just kind of a sandwich. You can see the three strips of plywood. I sandwich those together instead of trying to cut out the square holes, just because my chisel skills are not great. So I figured it was easier to just make clean cuts on the table saw and then glue everything together and sandwich with the exact dimensions and not worry about trying to chisel everything out exactly as it needed to be. We'll pull this guy out. Actually, before we do that, we'll take a look at that hole itself and the locking block. Basically, the way that I did that is I cut a block that essentially fit the hole snug, and I tapped it into place, and then I closed the door, and then I had pre-drilled the holes on the door, and then I drilled through a little bit through the existing holes to match up with to basically mark the block. And then I had my hole marks on the block. Then I could pull the block out, finish drilling that out, and then do the shaping on the block. You can see, hopefully you can see from the side here, there's a little bit of a taper on the top and bottom going in towards the center. There's also a bit of a taper on the block here. Hopefully it'll focus. Doesn't want to focus. There we go. There's a taper, coming in this side and this side. The key taper is this one, because that's the inside of the curve, and that will bind up if it's kept just completely square. That could bind up, and then of course this corner needs to be lobbed off because it's on the outer radius of the turn here. If it was exactly this width of the hole, then it would just hit that corner before it lines up flush, because of the circular geometry of that. And that's not critical to have that, the size, the width of the hole anyway. It just needs to, just needs to fit it. And then just, tapering it on the top and the bottom to help guide it, to help it guide itself in, and then engage with that recess. So inside of this, nothing particularly magical in here. We've got 1-inch black iron pipe that's just essentially dead-ended into a block of 2x4, and then goes through the side of the box over there. Same thing over there. You can't see it behind the box, the electrical box, but regular handy box with an outlet for the 2 cords that then feed up through their respective holes, which you can't really see. There's one in there you can kind of see. That goes up under the planer, or that goes into the chop saw, which is now down below. And just, drill out a hole that's big enough for the plug, unless you want to unwire things, or cut the plug off and then feed the wire down and then add another plug back on. Obviously, that's however you want to do that. You can see underneath here the recesses for the carriage bolts that are then holding down the planer. And again, the planer shimmed up to match the bed of the planer with the wings out here, so everything's matched up. And then the black iron pipe goes out and then comes into a regular flange, just screwed into the flange there. It's just then screwed in through the plywood. And then while we're over here, we'll take a look too at the basic. It's just a basic cleat for the arm for the wing. Nothing terribly complicated there either. It's a fairly simple design overall. I made the hinges essentially out of some more walnut with just a slight round over. And notice also it's a little hard to see here, but there's a little taper downward here to allow the wing to over rotate in order to accommodate the rise you need to get the foot in place. So there's a little detail there, and then just a couple of support arms that are just bolted with some regular 1/4-inch bolts and nylon nylock nuts to the frame of the outer rails of the wing. And then what else do we have? Wing, same thing on this side, except this one has the pipe. Someone might ask, why doesn't the pipe just go all the way through from side to side? Well, there's your answer right there. You need the cord to come through, and we can't really see it here, but if I move the cords out of the way, that cord, there we go, we can see in the back there where the orange cord comes out of the pipe out into the middle of the box, and then comes into the back of that handy box there, which you can't see where it comes in, but that's where it's wired in. So the cord goes in through the pipe there, so it swivels. And then I think the last thing really is I made a couple of, just a couple of simple cleats to coil up the wire, so that when I'm done, we can do that and kick down the wing and stow away the cord, and everything's nice and neat. And then I guess the last part here, we'll swing it down. Oops. Gotta take the piece out here. These tools actually weigh about 2 pounds different, so it worked out quite nicely that they complement each other pretty well. Very little imbalance. And we see again here the engaging the locking block. Just slides into that, and then there's just kind of a standard, standard latch here that I mounted the main piece of the latch just a little bit further out on either side, so that when these come in and they latch, the 2 pins essentially meet in the middle of that. This doesn't need to hold a lot of strain. The goal isn't to keep the door from pulling out. It's just to keep the door in place and locking block does all the work. And then I guess the only other thing is in the back, just a couple of braces there to give the box some horizontal rigidity, and it's pretty stable. And that's it. The chop saw and planer flip cart with your basic casters on the floor. Thanks for watching.